Oh, hi there. Today I wanted to test out another alcoholic beverage. This one is a beer made by Parallel 49. It's in some liquor stores I've noticed, but not all of them. I actually first found it in a private liquor store. And it's a strong beer at 8%. What is it called again? I think it's called Power Slide. Let's just have a look. Yeah, this is it. It's got a chick with a bunch of tattoos on her arm and things like that. It is indeed Parallel 49 that makes it. This beer is warm, of course, because I don't particularly like my beers to be cold. I mean, I guess when my sore throat goes away, cold beers would be ideal, but I don't know, I wouldn't want to say, oh, you're traumatized from wanting a cold beer because of your experiences with the harsh treatment of a psychiatrist. But, you know, that aside, there's actually some metaphorical reasons why I chose this particular beer. Okay, you may notice it says ladies and gentlemen on it. Take a look at the chick. She's got, you know, bone skulls on her arm as tattoos and things like that, and you know, she's supposed to be hardcore and whatever. It's kind of important to me because some parts of that actually remind me of a music video from Saliva, the band Saliva, called Ladies and Gentlemen, where the band is singing as two female boxers are fighting each other. No, I'm not into that at all. I just think it's, you know, it's a man's sport. You know, Foxy boxing is what they'd call it, I think, but that's rather brutal. I did watch the music video, and I have watched it a few times, but that's really just to, you know, make sure that that's at the back of my mind that, you know, that could be a big contributing factor to why I'm an involuntary celibate, is that there are women who are, you know, hard nuts, and, you know, they could be, you know, really angry with each other, and not to toot my own horn, but it could very well be over me. Because it's funny. Well, no, that's not funny, but my whole situation's funny. As an involuntary celibate, not many people talk to me at all. It's got nothing to do with talking to men or women or whatever. Especially women, I don't talk too much, but just talking to anybody is difficult for me. And mostly I have to do it on Facebook platforms. And the people on there are the most despicable people I've ever met. Now, I know some of it is just going to be an act that they're performing, but really they're intolerable, and I don't care what their chain of reasoning is for why they do the things they do. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Like I would not even bother if I were anybody else. I would not go to Facebook to communicate with anyone, because 9 out of 10 people, you're not going to get a coherent conversation out of them anyway. And especially for me, 10 out of 10 people I'm not going to get a coherent conversation with. Yeah, like it feels like more that they figure, well, over time, if we keep telling him these sort of messages that are worded a certain way, that he'll go along with them eventually. And it's just like, no, that would have worked maybe when I was 20, but I'm 32 years of age. I've been walking this earth for quite a while now, and that bullshit just isn't gonna fly. Yeah. Personally, I mean, I can only speculate because I have seen no proof of it at all. But as far as the Foxy boxing goes, because I am actually an attractive male and I have a very active social media, I hope that what is said on my social media is indicative to what I said and not what somebody else is saying that they're the same as me or some bullshit like that, because no, asshole, I don't have to agree with what the fuck you got to say. Like, I got in an argument with a few people on this one particular page, and it always boils down to like little things like okay, they constantly want to make it a point that women choose black men over white men and things like that because of the size of their penises, and they didn't like what I had to say about it. And I'm not apologetic. I'm not going to say sorry about the things that I said, because they were so much worse about it. And anyway, yeah, it's just one big mess. And I'm really getting the impression that there are chicks out there that if I say no to them, they're gonna fucking go apeshit. And obviously right now in my compromised physical condition, that is something I definitely do not want. And it's like, I don't know them and I don't owe them anything. It's true, I don't know as many women as I would like to. As an involuntary celibate for most of my life, and when I was in my younger years, I, voluntarily was a celibate, just because my mind was focused on other things. I think I explained that before. Doesn't mean that, I'm some fresh meat in a package waiting for whomever the masses deem is deserving of getting first crack at me. That's not what's going to happen. That's ridiculous. That's absurd. It's like we've gone back through a time loop or something, and it's back to tribal days, which gets me back to this beer. I don't like tattoos, okay? I really, really don't like them. I mean, I guess on whatever kind of situation I may pork a chick who has tattoos, that means including sleeve tattoos and things like that. They're just grotesque on women, okay? I don't care if there are other guys who think it garners them respect or they think it looks good. I'm not other guys. I'm me, and I don't like sleeve tattoos especially, but I don't like a woman with too many tattoos. I'd prefer they didn't have any at all. Like, they're not, something I see as something being good. But, if it's just easier at the time to, bang a chick who has tattoos not unsimilar to this one, then I suppose that's what I gotta do. I mean, it's ironic because Stone Cold Steve Austin, the shirt I'm wearing, he's got a tattoo. I don't even know what it is really. It's red. That's about all I know. It might be a heart shape. I don't know. Because the thing is, when I watch Stone Cold, it's because I want to hear what he's got to say. It's not because I'm, looking at his leg. Yeah, I think he did a podcast or something like that where he was explaining about his tattoo. It's pretty good, his channel, because Stone Cold said so, or he's got a few other ones too, and he's worth listening to. But anyway, this Power Slide beer, I'm really hoping it's not too hoppy, because, I can drink hoppy beer, but, it's not my favorite. It's always got, just too overbearing a flavor. Yeah, I would presume this is going to be a dark beer. Well, it's a double IPA, so yeah, it's gonna be, like, I don't know. But, yeah. So what I was getting back to with the involuntary celibacy things and, the Foxy boxing as being a bit of a metaphor for women that don't like each other but like me, I don't have to like either of them. I don't care about their stories. I don't care what they've been through. I don't care about any of that. They could have watched every single minute of all of my videos and I could still turn around and go, I don't like her, I want her gone. And, you know, that isn't a nice thing to say, but, you know, they're not nice people to start off with, so, you know, I don't feel bad. And, you know, it's just something that has to be done anyway, because, you know, if somebody thought I was going to be, like, doing, you know, Keanu Reeves from The Matrix and just, you know, become one with The Matrix and go with the flow, no, asshole, that's not happening. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if you get mad at me because I'm not doing it. That is, you know, kind of your problem, not my problem. And if you come around and try and make it my problem, I'm a lot smarter than you, so I'll figure something out, believe me. I got, you know, some tricks up my sleeve. Legitimate ones too. I just, you know, have to be conscientious of that because, you know, some people are bitter losers and they don't handle it very well, especially in the real world. And you would not believe the amount of times people have been like, oh, calm down, when I'm on, you know, social media talking or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? I know they're fucking wigging out on the other end of, you know, the Facebook platform, on the other internet access. And because I'm not going along with what they're saying, and I even go so far as to point out how and why they're being manipulative, that makes them tremendously angry. And obviously you can't see that on a computer screen, so my interpretation when they say that is that they're the ones who are really angry and they don't like what I have to say. And it's got nothing to do with me being particularly wrong or anything. In fact, most of the time I believe I am right when I make my points. It's more got to do with I'm not agreeing with what they think I should do, because particularly for me on Facebook, it's not really them asking me what I think. It's more them trying to tell me what I should think. And I am really, really opposed to being told what to think. And, you know, they'll go through a story every, you know, day, like a different one, you know, a different platform, slightly different approach, but it's the same sort of thing. And, you know, one of them was about bondage one day. It's like every post on all the forums was something about bondage. I made a funny meme where I used Leonidas, Gerald Butler, as 300, and he's like, submission? Now that's a bit of a problem. And, you know, the picture I had on top was actually Sauron, the flaming eye from Lord of the Rings, who I was saying, you know, the Facebook admins are like not asking you if you like bondage, they're telling you you like it. And I'm just sitting there going, no I don't. And I don't think your argument for why they're good is, you know, very intelligent. I don't like the sound of that at all. In any kind of sense, a metaphorical, physical, whatever. It's just like, no. And, you know, I can't believe I have to, you know, deal with people who are trying to tell me how to think. And they think, you know, oh, this kid's autistic, he's, you know, we can tell him whatever we want and he'll go about and do it. And it's like, take a seat, asshole. Just because you said something doesn't mean I have to believe your version. And this is all important because at this point in time, anyone I ask will turn around and go, oh, no women are interested in you, oh, you couldn't pull a chick and things like that. And I go, well, why would that be? I actually am not a bad looking guy. And, you know, I had one friend said, oh, it's because you have no money. That's odd. I have 46 NHL hockey jerseys. I've got this, that, and the other going on. And it's just like, I think you're full of shit. And their immediate response is, are you calling me a liar? Are you calling me a liar? Yeah, I am calling you a liar. And it's just like, it feels like an episode of the friggin' Twilight Zone, you know? It's like everyone else is nuts and I'm the only one who's sane. I don't know, like, it's really, you know, not that easy for me to explain just based on how little information I get about anything from anywhere. You know, I could be, you know, on the internet watching all the media I can possibly watch, and in that way I can broaden my horizons and things like that. But the problem is that's all tracked. It's all tracked by certain individuals working for the internet companies, and they know everything I've been up to on the internet. You know, there's nothing I'm ashamed of, but, you know, obviously there's some things, you know, everybody's looked at stuff on the internet they wish they hadn't. Most of the time because it's not even by choice, it's because they're just scrolling on the Facebook and then something disgusting will show up out of nowhere. That's usually the case, at least with me anyway. And, you know, it really feels like it's just the same crowd of assholes on my Facebook that I have to talk to every time, and all they do is flip accounts and pretend like they never talked to me before. And I went out of my way and said, look, I think I've argued with you probably a dozen times, and you know, you just keep flipping accounts and then you deny you've done anything, and it's like, that's not good enough as evidence. Because, you know, some of these assholes, like, they mutter really, really insulting things against me. I think they do that to everybody who's trying to be successful, especially on the internet, is that they call them all kinds of names. And I don't tolerate that kind of stuff. I really don't. And I don't know what kind of image certain people have of me, because for the longest time, people have just not been talking. They just would rather talk behind my back and say whatever they want, and they felt it was like a freebie, like a person who could be insulted, call them anything you want, and they can go about doing their lives. And it's just like, I may not have direct evidence that that happened, but that doesn't mean it didn't, and it doesn't mean that evidence does not exist. So those stupid fuckers who were saying stupid things for the longest time about me with no shred of proof at all, you're gonna be in for a nasty surprise when you find out that, hey man, I'm not hiding anything. And not only that, you look like a dumb asshole who jumped the gun on, you know, saying things like that about me, and you know, you're wrong. You're just simply wrong. Anyway, this beer was supposed to be what the video was about, but it was a bit, you know, metaphorically complicated. And I said, you know, not everything to do with the music video that Saliva, the band, had made has to do with this metaphorical application and all that, but there are some elements that do, and I wanted to point that out. And one thing is, if the first 10 women who come around all are decked out in tattoos, it's like, oh, you think you're on the top of the list, get the fuck out of here. And I will be cold and merciless about that. You know, a lot of people, you know, when they hear the word involuntary celibate, they think of incel, and then, you know, all the worst names in the book come flying right out. And as I said in another video, you know, there is a difference. Like, I am not the stereotypical media portrayal of what an involuntary celibate is. I refuse to be called those kind of things because it's just not indicative to who I am. But it is a control mechanism that they have. They can turn around and go, oh, this guy's trash, he's this, he's that, blah, 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 blah. And people are just naturally inclined to want to believe that because it somehow makes them feel sanctimonious about themselves, makes them feel better about themselves. And so long as there's a bad guy around, you know, that's the way how they like to think. So it doesn't really matter if, you know, the person is actually bad or not. It's just, in this culture, they need one around. So they'll create one if they have to. And it's just like, yeah, you go on ahead and paint this image of me that doesn't exist, okay? When my throat gets better and I get out into the community like I should, and, you know, actually get back to work, that would be good too, you're going to be seeing a guy with, you know, a smile on his face, pleasant demeanor, crossing every T, dotting every I, and that will fuck up everybody who tried to peg me as a bad guy with no proof. And that believe it or not, is actually quite a good revenge. I know it sounds strange, it just sounds ridiculous. But I don't know how people get in these situations, I really don't, but somehow that's what happened. I just don't know. Anyway, I guess we could give this beer a try. It's just a harmless beer after all. But yeah, getting back to the tattoos thing, I'd prefer the chick didn't have them. Especially a lot of them. Like, I'll put up with one or two of them if they're not very big, I suppose. But I would prefer they didn't have them at all. Like, they're disgusting. It means they're experienced. It means that they have, you know, friends that I'm not going to like. It means it's symbolic for a lot of things that are going to be wrong with this kind of person. And, you know, I have to deal with habitual liars all the friggin' time. And it's just like, it's not cute. It's not amusing. It's not fun. You know, it's a bunch of absurd bullshit. And, you know, there are chicks out there that believe if they conform to what society deems as normal and appropriate, because society likes to take the context out of things, so let some people think things are progressive, and when you look at it from a historical point of view, no it isn't. It's progressive for what mainstream society wants society to be, mainly LGBTQ, FS, K, M, U, Y, Z, you know, all those stupid things. Or, you know, that a white woman going with a black male, that she should be treated, you know, like she's, you know, like she's deserving of an award or something like that. And I'm looking at it and going as, no you don't. You wanted some exotic dick or pussy, because that's the same thing for men when they go with women that are not of their color. That's not being progressive. That's just you shifting your prejudices to a different direction. Because we all have them in one way or another. That's a fact. It's a fact. There's just, you know, most people, it's over something stupid. And their sanctimonious attitude just takes over. And the women who think, oh, well, they've been with a black guy, therefore they're more entitled to get, you know, the first shot at me. No, you're not on the list either. And, oh, they'll go, oh, well, we can buy him off with, you know, some black snatch or some, you know, maybe he'll get yellow fever or something like that. And it's just like, no, that isn't going to happen. I mean, I guess if the situation's correct, I will go with them. But as far as, you know, treating them with a serious relationship, no, I'm not treating any of them as a serious relationship. I'm like, quick in and out, and I'm gone. You know, because there are women, you know, the kinds of women I do like, and they're the kind of women I don't like and I don't tolerate. Like, as a matter of fact, even if, you know, the most conservative, you know, friendliest white girl goes to put on, you know, something like Tupac, when, you know, we're getting some action going on, it's going to be like, either the Tupac goes or I go. I don't listen to Tupac or any of those other, you know, can't say the word. I can't believe it. It's just a corruption of a Spanish word, but we can't say it. Do you know I'm thinking what word it is? It starts with an N. And I'm allowed to think like that. I am. Because I don't have to go along with society's norms, especially with the hypocrisy of everything else that's going on in society. Like, the gay community is nothing to be proud of. Yet on the television, you know, they're saying how great everything is, and all that sort of stuff. And it's really, you know, it's an ugly, disgusting, like, repulsive scene that is. And those kind of people, I don't have respect for them because, you know, they want to, you know, behave like that. I don't have to. It's, you know, last I checked, this was, you know, America. This is a free country. No, this is Canada, but, you know what I mean. Yeah, let's give this beer a try. Oh, it actually looks light. Let's give it a try. Well, it's not too hoppy. It's okay, I suppose. Yeah, and at 8%, you get, you know, a bang for your buck on that one. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd buy it again, maybe. I wouldn't go out of my way though. Like, especially go to a private liquor store to buy it and pay more money for it. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, anyway, yeah, getting back to my particular situation with the involuntary celibacy thing, I don't have a problem picking up chicks. I have a problem that there's a crowd around me that has pitched a story, and that story has become me, even though it's not me. I mean, it would be fair to suggest that I'm the one to tell my own story, would it not? You know, the one that happened to me and not them. But yeah, it's the crowd around me that's saying, oh no, this guy's not getting a chick. He looks like a caveman. Blah, 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 blah. And like I said, I think it's because they're actual women who are like very high on the bitch scale that are, you know, fucking up the program, as well as all the ethnic minorities that I don't like. And yeah, I said it. I went ahead and said it. I don't like them. You know, and I'm not one of these people who puts on a, you know, a bogus smile and is unnecessarily mean behind someone's back. Because that's what happened to me. And I don't respect lowbrow fucking psychological tactics like that. I think you're a pathetic specimen of a human life if that's the way you go about doing things. Is rather than dealing with the problem, you just put it on the shelf and go, well, if it's on the shelf, then it has nothing to do with me. And, you know, I guess in reverse, people going, well, if I'm not going to deal with the kinds of people who have, you know, become part of this crowd that are around me and don't like what I have to say, in theory, isn't that what I'm doing to them? What they did to me? No. Because I believe you get what you deserve. If you've been an asshole your whole life or whatever, then that's what you fucking deserve. And I just happen to believe that I didn't do anything to deserve this particular bad situation that I'm in. I know that's not what people want to hear. I know they want to hear, oh, this guy's a, you know, he's the worst thing since I don't know, anything. And it's just like, no, they're not, you know, accurate to, you know, the evidence or anything like that about me. It's just not accurate. So, you know, a lot of people would be, you know, very concerned about making a video like this, knowing that there are assholes who, it doesn't matter what I say, they're not going to like me. And they're hovering about as well. It's not that they just don't like me, it's that they don't want to fuck off either. If I could make them fuck off, that would be great, but they're proving to be more difficult than I'd like to think. Yeah, this is all really complicated, and if you're not somewhat familiar with the kind of subject, it is cult of personality type stuff, and you know, this is just the kind of bullshit. You know, I'm a lot lower on the food chain, but I do have people who, you know, get bonkers mad at me for seemingly no reason at all, but just to, you know, kind of flex their intimidation because they don't want to let on exactly why they're mad at me. And, you know, I don't think a woman decked out in tattoos, who will flip out at the very smallest of things is very beneficial for me at this time. I know a lot of people go, you know, incels are violent tempered, they're angry, they're this and that, and if one is well behaved, he'll get a chick in the end, but she has to be domineering and this, that, and the other, and it's just like, no, you slag, get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I am not putting up with that. That's a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, that had nothing to do with this beer though, but you know, metaphorically speaking. It was called Power Slide, 8%. I believe this is just a 473 milliliter can. It is. Parallel 49. It's not bad. Not too hoppy. Some people would probably prefer it was cold. I don't know, I've gotten used to drinking beer warm. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes there's no easy way to break bad information to people, but there's a lot of people that actually would like to be friends of mine, and it's just like, no, you're a bunch of slugs, and I don't consider you my friend, and I don't care if you get mad, and you don't like that, and you stomp around because I don't like you. Because that would imply that I'm intimidated by you, and after everything I've been through with, you know, the medication and the psychological aspects of having no one talk to me for years, or no serious conversations anyway, not being aware of what people think about me, and the only source I have of somewhat continual conversation is on the internet, where it's a very insane, manipulative place. You know, I do my best to steer clear from as much as the mental stuff as possible, but in my situation it's just impossible, because you know, these people are really gone in the head, and it's scary because they're actually in positions of authority and they're gone in the head, and it's like, you know, I was talking to this one guy, right, early in the morning, because my sleeping pattern's a little off. It's, you know, not as good as I'd like it to be. Like, I prefer to be awake during the day and asleep at night, and that's not always the case. Usually I sleep sporadically. Like, I'll sleep for 5 hours, be up for 4 hours, sleep for 6, this, that, and the other. It really all depends. And I was talking to this one guy, and you know, I could tell he was a bureaucrat, right? He totally was. And we were talking about, well, I forgot how the conversation came about, but he started talking about, you know, Doomsday type things, and he's going, oh, you know, America backing out of the climate deal, and phytoplankton, I think they're called. They produce oxygen from the ocean anyway. There's a very simple life form. He was going on about all that sort of stuff, and he tried bullshitting some facts. He said, oh, the rain in Texas was 48 degrees Celsius, and it's just like, no, it wasn't. And anyway, I told him, like, that's not something to be concerned with. Of course, the guy had a million links to, you know, prep up what he had to say about, you know, environmental changes and things like that, and I'm not saying that's not significant. But I was saying, you know, the thought of North America being conquered by an invading force is something I would be more concerned with, because as some people know, the Chinese have a supersonic missile. Now, that basically means that the only thing a supersonic missile is a missile that goes very fast. They're not accurate, they're not convenient, they're not anything. They just go real fast. And that's not actually a problem for us in North America. However, it is a problem for people, you know, in Hong Kong, Japan, Taiwan, South Korea. And, you know, the flimsy promise from, you know, just the global community and the Chinese Communist Party is not really comforting to them. They don't want to hear that. And And, you know, part of that is them pushing their influence into the West, and it's just like, this isn't who we are as a people. Justin Trudeau and his nerve about talking about Canadian culture. That slime ball is changing what Canadian culture is to his own advantage. And there are so many things wrong with that guy. And, you know, if you have half a brain, you can figure it out for yourself. But anyway, this guy kept trying to distract me, going, showing me all these links. Like he put up like 20 links to all these things, and I'm going, oh yeah, well, I bet you won't find many links to undetectable nuclear submarines, will you? You know, I'm a little bit more concerned about that because, you know, I live in Vancouver, and, you know, it got hot, as it does, as you would think, in summer. It was late July to about mid-August where it was around 30 degrees, which is normal. And I did make a video about the fires in BC. Perhaps they're just letting them burn. But another idea is, what if they're just exaggerating how big they are? I mean, certain crews are only in certain areas. That way you can control the information they know. So what if it's just being absurdly brought up that, you know, oh, this fire is as big as it's ever been? Because, you know, the media lies, okay, man? You gotta accept that. And, you know, this also might be contributing to my involuntary celibacy. I could, you know, just go with the program, but, you know, after what's happened to me and the way it happened to me and why it happened to me, fuck you, mainstream media. Just fuck you. I ain't going along with your program. I'm fucking going along with logic and reason. And if that means, you know, I have to continue to be an involuntary celibate, so be it. I'm not being passed around like a fucking doobie at a concert. That's not what's happening. And if that pisses some fucking tattoo-covered fucking lizard out there, I don't give a fuck. Batman beat the shit out of Killer Croc so many fucking times in the Task version of Batman, and that's all that character deserves, is to get the shit kicked out of him. And, you know, well, you know, you can't be anyone in this world without having enemies. So that's just part of life. And it's very clear that I have people that do not like me. I'm not going out of my way to not like them, but I'd like them to kindly fuck off. Just fuck off. And, you know, my opinion about global politics and things like that, there are some people who get really triggered about that sort of stuff. So it's a combination of reasons of why I'm involuntary celibate, and it's, you know, none of them, in my opinion, are, you know, like directly my fault, bad reasons. But there's circumstances that are beyond my control, and, you know, I voiced my opinion on what I think is good about the world and what's not. And there are people who don't agree with me because they have a biased opinion based on whatever circumstance they are in. And it's all about the triumph of will. Who's got the stronger personality? And to be honest with you, I don't think they have the stronger personality than me. However, I could be proven wrong. I suppose if I, you know, got to a re-education center and they started, you know, like really hurting me, then maybe I could be convinced into changing my mind, but I don't see why I would deserve that. Anyway, didn't talk much about the beer, but it was all, you know, metaphorical, and, you know, not everything has to do with the beer, not everything has to do with the Stone Cold shirt. It's just, you know, a whole combination of things that are going on, and it's, you know, not the easiest thing to explain. Anyway, gonna finish up this video. Have a good one. See you later.